This is 5.9 and it's the last lesson for chapter 5. And this is going to be talking about solving right triangles. Whenever you're asked to solve a triangle, you're basically asked to find all the information about it. You want to find every single angle, every single side length. You have a lot of tools at your disposal for this. You're welcome to use Pythagorean theorem, you can use trig ratios, but you have to have at least two pieces of information to start. Once you have two of those pieces of information, it could be either an angle and a side, or it could be two sides. Once you have that, you can solve the rest of the triangle. If you don't have two pieces of information, you cannot solve the rest of the triangle. You have to have kind of a starting point. So, these questions usually take quite a bit of time because there's a lot of math involved. I'm going to go through this step by step in a slow process to show you what I would recommend doing, because there's a lot of logic based to it as well. There's also some trig functions. But basically, if you're given your two pieces of information, usually a side length and an angle, you have to find three other things. The best place to start is if I already know the angle, an easy way to get marks is to find my other angle. I know that all the angles in a triangle will add up to 180 degrees. So 180 minus 90 minus 57 will give me my missing side angle. And with that, I know that this is going to equal 33 degrees. The reason why I start with this is it's a good place, it's easy to get the marks, and that's not very good color, and it is a surefire way to guarantee yourself, if this was out of 3 marks, it'd be a 1 out of 3. Once you have that done, you basically want to then label your triangle and pick another corner or another side. I'm still going to use and label my triangle based off of 57 degrees, just because if I made an error in my calculations and I wrote down, let's say, 43 degrees, if I then solve this triangle based off of 43 degrees, the other two side lengths would be incorrect. So it's always safe to use the information given. So I'm going to use this 57 degrees as my angle for labeling this triangle. In that case, this is the opposite. My unknown here is the hypotenuse, and my unknown at the bottom is the adjacent. I'm going to find this unknown first. I'm going to find the adjacent. To do that, I have to pick my right trig ratio, looking back at SOHCAHTOA, and I know I have the opposite, I'm trying to find the adjacent, and I have the angle. So I'm going to use tan. So, tan theta equals the opposite over the adjacent. I know my angle is 57 degrees, so I'm going to go tan of 57 equals an opposite, which was 18, divided by an adjacent. I'm going to rearrange this to get the adjacent by itself. I know that tan of 57 is 1.53. I know that when I have an unknown on the bottom, when I rearrange this, I'm going to multiply both sides by the adjacent and then divide both sides by 1.35. Really what I'm doing is I'm swapping these two values. When I do that, I have an adjacent is equal to 18 divided by 1.539. And when I punch that into my calculator, I get an adjacent length of 11.689 meters. Now, there's nothing stopping me from doing the exact same thing again, using opposite, or in our case, we could use 11.65 to find a hypotenuse using either sine or cos. However, to showcase kind of all three methods we've learned this chapter, I'm going to use Pythagorean theorem. Pythagorean theorem is a squared plus b squared equals c squared, with the only stipulation that c squared, or rather c, is our longest length, which is our hypotenuse in this case. So when I set this up, I'm going to go 18 squared plus 11.689 squared equals our c squared. 18 squared, or 18 times 18, is 324 plus 11.689 squared is 136.632. It's always good to keep as many decimal places as you can. When I add these two together, I get c squared equals 460.632 equals our c squared. To get rid of our squared function, I take the square root of both sides. And when I do that, it kills off our square. So lastly, when I take the square root of 460, I get a length of c, which is 21.462, and this would be in meters. Now there's nothing stopping me from using the trig function to find this, and if you do, you should get the identical answer. But that is the three methods we've learned so far in trigonometry. Figuring out angles, figuring out your three trig ratios, and remembering about Pythagorean theorem. You're welcome to use and solve triangles any way you seem fit. And because of this, there's only one question for 5.9, and it is to solve the following triangle. We know there's an initial angle of 38 degrees. You need to find the uppermost angle. We know the side length is 10. You have to find the bottom side length and the longest side length. If you have any questions or concerns, I will be online on Tuesdays and Thursdays for tutorial. Otherwise, good luck.